What is going on, my dudes and dudettes? It's Sean you, that's Serpentarium. I'm chilling with my spotted python right now. She's good as gold, as you can see. Absolute fantastic snake. Best snake anyone could ask for, really, a spotted python. But anyway, today's topic, we're going to talk about vivariums versus plastic tubs, or really useful boxes, or whatever you want to call them. So let's just get straight into it. First off, I just want to say, guys, no arguing in the comments. This is just going to be my personal take on it, nothing more, nothing less. And we'll just get straight into it. First of all, we're going to talk about vivariums. Now, the benefit of a vivarium is pretty obvious, really. You've got a lot of space, both vertically and floor space. You can decorate it if you choose to. You can do a lot of decoration with this, so it looks really nice for you to look at it, you know, looking into the viv. It looks much better in, say, your living room if you've got a pet snake, which is fantastic, really. So if you don't have a snake room, then that's much better than just having a load of tubs everywhere. If you've got a certain species, really, a viv is a must. So that's another benefit of the viv. My main sort of benefit for the vivarium is you've got much more control of the ventilation, and because I'd always recommend using a ceramic heat emitter, then you don't have to worry about the ambient temperature as much, because you've got that ceramic heat emitter there, and that's going to keep the cool end nice and warm, as well as keeping the hot end at the right sort of temperature. They're harder to set up than rubs, but once you set it up, you don't have to fuss with it at all. So all you've got to do, obviously, is clean it out and stuff like that, make sure everything's working. But you've got to do that with the tub setups anyway, so that's no big deal for me. I'm just standing on some debris on the floor there, nearly fell over. Yeah, so that's sort of the main benefits for myself, really, that I see. Obviously, the snake can climb a lot more because it's got that vertical space, where you can add branches and stuff like that. They don't tend to hold humidity as well as a tub setup, so that's something to bear in mind there. So let's get into the benefits of the tub setups then. You can obviously have a lot more snakes in a much smaller space. I keep all my snakes for the moment in tubs. I do use large tubs, I gotta say. Alright, I know a lot of people are against the use of tubs altogether, but I actually use, for all my adult female ball pythons, I actually use boa breeding tubs. So they're huge. You can actually fit, you know, your standard 33 litre tub inside one of those and have room to spare. So they're a lot bigger than the standard 33 litre tubs that most people use. They've got these cool little windows on the front that I really like as well. So yeah, I will show you another time, but for now I'm just gonna, you know, sort of tell you what sort of tubs I've got. So that's one of the main benefits. Another benefit then is obviously less stress for the snake. Some species stress out a lot, okay. There's quite a lot of debate, really, about whether or not people have made that rumour up for ball pythons or royal pythons. I personally think that they are actually better off in vivariums, especially if it's a pet, and it is mainly because of that that ambient temperature situation. A lot of people seem to not have the ambient temperatures down, including myself. When I first started, I didn't have the right ambient temperatures, because I just thought that as long as the hotspot was correct, then everything else was fine. And obviously that's not the case. I've seen a lot of people keep them in tubs, and then the cool end is way too cold, and that's not great husbandry then, is it? So I would always say, really, tubs are better for royals, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about the benefits of the tubs. The tubs are much better for holding humidity, and obviously with that then you get easier times getting your snake to shed. You've got much more control over the humidity because you can add extra ventilation and get better airflow. It's obviously much cheaper than buying a vivarium setup. Yeah, you can get a rack second hand or build one yourself for fairly cheap, and then you're laughing then really on you know what I mean. So those are the sort of main benefits that I really like about using the tubs. There is a lack of enrichment, but to be honest there's so little scientific data on whether snakes actually require the enrichment or not. The jury's still out on that, and I do get my snakes out a lot to exercise them, and like I say, I don't use just the smallest tub I can possibly put them in. I do have quite big tubs here, so there is that to contend with as well. Like for the babies I use like 18-litre tubs, whereas most people use like 5 litres. So there is certainly a right way to do it, and I do use hot and cool end hides, which I would recommend. A bit of loose shifting substrate, stuff like that, and get them out often to exercise, and I think you're golden with a tub really, as long as they got enough room to stretch out, of course. So personally guys, I think really as long as your husbandry is correct, and your snake can actually stretch out and it's well kept and everything like that, it's clean, I think those are the most important things to me really, over while you keep it in a tub or a rub. Obviously for something like a retic or something like that, you do need to keep it in a vivarium, unless it's like a super dwarf or something like that, a smaller retic, like a hatchling or whatever, then fair enough. But you couldn't really keep an adult in a tub unless you had like a 10 by 5 foot tub, which I actually have seen available. So yeah, that would be quite tempting to me if I had retics, because that's so much bigger than most commercial vivs that you can get as well, like, do you know what I mean? And it'd be much easier to clean, so that for me that'd be golden, a 10 by 5 foot rub for retic. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, I think the main problem people have with keeping these tubs is they don't look that pretty, and people have a tendency to sort of anthropomorphize snakes, when really you need to realize what's best for you isn't best for the snake. We're very different animals. What keeps a snake happy is obviously the right husbandry and food, and as long as it's got both of them and it can stretch out, then it's happy as Larry really, okay? It needs to feel nice and secure, and past that you're golden. Like, I mean, you'll find a lot, if you keep a lot of snakes in big huge tubs, most of the time they're going to be in the hide. You know what I mean? It's very rare they're going to come out and be prowling around the cage. They will do it, of course, but they won't much. So that's why my view on it is, if you keep them in a tidy sized tub, nothing too small, okay? A good sized tub, and you get them out to exercise, then I think that's fine really. I really don't have a problem with that, as long as it's nice and clean and your husbandry is on point. As I've said, those are the main things for me. But whatever you choose to do, guys, always do your research first, and if it's a pet snake, I always would recommend get a viv over a rub system, just because of that ambient temp situation. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today, guys. I hope you've learned something new. Please keep it nice and chill in the comment section, alright? I don't want any arguments. I'm very tired today. I had to get up super early because I had people come in to fit windows in my house. I'm feeling quite groggy. It's really rainy outside as well, but luckily I'm not made of sugar, so I didn't dissolve. But yeah, that'll be more or less it from me and Miss Spotted Python for today, as I've said. Comment below as well, what you keep your snakes in, rubs or tubs. and what you actually keep in the rubber tub or Viv or whatever you keep it in. It'd be really interesting to know. And let us know as well what sort of size guides you tend to use. I just use the old does it look right sort of guide. You know, I just look in there and go, does that snake in that setup look right? And if it doesn't look right, then I'll change it to a bigger tub or a smaller tub or whatever the case may be. And as long as it's eating and it's happy, then I'm happy. So just let us know about that in the comments. Thanks for watching as always, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.